What's up, guys? My name is Gabe and welcome back to the Trojan Blade. Welcome back to a brand new video. Today we are looking ahead to 2025. Yes, there still are some things we can accomplish this year. Wins over our rivals are as important as anything during the course of a Trojan football season, but I think we can all agree that we pretty much failed to accomplish our main goals this year. So in today's video, we are going to be taking a look ahead to 2025. We're going to take a look at who's back next year, who's leaving us, who we could target in the portal, and who should we worry about transferring away from SC. I find this kind of stuff fascinating. I'm a roster construction nerd, so this is my bread and butter. You'd be hard pressed to find a USC channel that covers the portal to the extent we do here at the Trojan Blade. So guys, if you are enjoying the content, please do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much. Let's get into this. All right, so just to start, let's go over every redshirt and true senior on this roster. I honestly don't know who still has eligibility and who doesn't. That's college football in 2024 for you. All right, so let's go through it. We have Nate Clifton, Kobe Pepe, Michael Lance, Gavin Meyer, Charles Ross, Kyle Ford, Jonah Monheim, Emmanuel Pregnon, Gino Quinones, Solomon Tuliapupu, Bryson Shaw, Greedy Vance, John Humphrey, DeCarlos Nicholson, Jaden Richardson, Jacoby Covington, Mason Cobb, Jamu Muhammad, Woody Marks, Akili Arnold, Eddie Chaplichki, Easton Mascarenas Arnold, Jalen Smith, and Rajon and Gentry, but I do expect them both to be back as they're redshirting this year. Now that's a lot of losses, particularly on the defensive side of the ball. Now, before this next segment, let me preface this with this is pure speculation. I have not heard anything about this. These are just my opinions and observations. Okay, so I'm sure there's still going to be someone on Twitter saying that I predicted these things to happen. But now that we're clear on that, let's talk about potential transfers out of the program. The first name I gravitate to is Zachariah Branch. I think he could be a candidate for this. He's clearly been passed by Mekhi Lemon. He doesn't have a clear-cut role on this team. As loaded as we are at wideout, it's going to be hard for him to be the guy here at SC. If being a number one is a top priority for him, I could see him portaling out. He could get an absolute bag at most programs in the country. But man, at SC, the competition at wideout is so intense, it's so difficult. Just maybe it won't work out here for him. I still do think there is a role for Zach on this team. I think he can refine that form from his freshman year. But at the end of the day, it depends on what his personal goals and ambitions are. Next up is Miller Moss. I'll just be honest here, I don't see a world where Miller is the starter next year. The physical limitations just hinder the ceiling of this offense too much, in my opinion. Lincoln can go into the portal and have a chance of snagging any quarterback that catches his eye, which, spoiler alert, I think that is what he's going to do. Miller Moss is a true Trojan, and I think he should absolutely start the rest of this year. But again, I do think we head in a different direction there next season. Amarion Peterson is good enough to have a role somewhere. I don't think that's going to happen for him here at SC. He seems like such a good kid and a damn good halfback. I'd love for him to be the guy somewhere personally. I think he deserves that. I also think there's a close to 0% chance that Mason Murphy is a starter for us next year. He still has a year of eligibility left, so I would look for him to transfer somewhere after the season and be a starter for someone else. I'm hesitant to include Jaden Mayava in this because that is solely dependent on if we bring in a portal quarterback or not. I know there's a Juju Lewis wrench in there too, but frankly, I'm sick of talking and thinking about that entire recruitment. If he signs, he signs. If not, we have Lincoln Riley. We'll be good at quarterback. Anthony Beavers is also someone I could see portaling out and being a full-time starter for somebody, but that's that for the most part. All right, now the fun part of the video. I have 6 different guys at the quarterback position that I think USC could be taking a look at in the offseason. A lot of this is dependent on if things break a certain way for these prospective teams and for the individual guys' draft stock to have them come back to college. And again, this is pure speculation as these guys aren't in the portal yet. No one has announced that they're entering the portal. This is just my opinions and observations. All right, but first off, we head out to Gainesville, Florida, and we're talking DJ Lagway. I want to give a shout out to Tim Prangley from the USC Voice of College Football channel. Me and him were chatting about this, and Lagway is the name he brought up, and I thought it was very interesting. DJ was the apple of Lincoln's eye last recruiting cycle. He absolutely loves this kid. 6'3", 240 is starting for Florida currently. I don't really see a world where Billy Napier comes back next year for Florida. So if they have a coaching change, this is definitely someone you could see testing the waters in the transfer portal. Now, when you talk about DJ, he is a big guy. Again, 6'3", 240. He can absolutely move. He is a threat running the ball. Very powerful kid. Arm strength wise, he's got an absolute hose for a right arm. Decision making, a little questionable. God knows he's getting 0 coaching over there at Florida right now. This is a guy that Lincoln Riley clearly loves. And I am going to talk more about the scheme that Lincoln Riley has been hinting that he wants to run here at SC. Definitely get into that in the next segment. But DJ fits what I think Lincoln wants to do in the Big Ten to a T. He's currently a true freshman. You would have him for at least 2 more years. And again, with the coaching change that I expect to happen, this is one that seems pretty realistic to me and would be an absolute home run in the transfer portal. Next up, how hilarious would this be? We're heading over to Norman, Oklahoma. We're talking about Jackson Arnold. So Jackson Arnold is a very, very talented kid. Currently a redshirt freshman, 6'1", 210, playing for an absolutely incompetent coaching staff over there in Norman. This is a guy, when you're talking about arm strength, when you're talking about mobility, when you're talking about toughness, he checks every single box for you. He also comes with that pedigree. He was a 5-star player, an elite prospect, I believe, in the 2023 class. As much as I dislike Oklahoma and their fans for obvious reasons, Jackson Arnold is someone I've been a big fan of, and the absolute coaching malpractice that has gone on with him over there in Norman is very, very sad to see. Wasted talent, wasted potential up to this point in his college career. This is a guy, if Lincoln got his hands on him, I think he could be very, very special at USC. He would also be a lot cheaper than some of the other options we're going to talk about. Getting DJ Lagway from Florida is probably going to cost you a lot of money. How much of the NIL budget do you want to tie up into one player? Obviously, quarterback is a massive, massive deal, so it's worth it if you hit on him at the end of the day. But I do think Jackson Arnold would be a phenomenal pickup for this program. Next up, let's head over to Tucson and talk about Noah Fifita. Now, Noah Fifita is a damn good quarterback. A little undersized, 5'10", 187. Obviously, T-Mac, his star receiver, is going to the NFL. He's going to be a top 10 pick. This is a guy from Huntington Beach who went to Servite High School, a local kid that Lincoln Riley seems to be a really big fan of based on the way he talked about him after we played them last year. Now, this doesn't really fit with the scheme I think Lincoln wants to run at USC in the Big Ten, but still, this is a proven winner, a very good college football quarterback that I think could have a ton of success at USC in this scheme with Lincoln Riley and these wideouts. He currently is a redshirt sophomore, going to be a redshirt junior next year. Don't think he's going to the NFL. He doesn't have the measurables. He doesn't have the production up to this point, but this is definitely someone that makes a lot of sense to me. I know he isn't everyone's cup of tea with the size. Size for me doesn't really matter when you're talking about quarterbacks, if and only if they have elite traits in other places, which I happen to think Noah does, both with arm strength and overall processing. He's also a very creative quarterback as well. For sure, one I can see happening. Next up, I want to talk about Thomas Castellanos from Boston College. This is pretty much a poor man's Kyler Murray. He's listed at 5'9", 196. This guy is a creative playmaker there at Boston College. Originally from the state of Georgia, went to UCF and then transferred into BC. A very smart guy, but at the same time, he's a very dynamic athlete with a big arm, very good in the scramble drill. He plays a lot bigger than he is. When you see him standing on the sideline, he's a pretty little guy. But man, when he's out there on the field, he's physical. He's got an absolute hose. And again, a very, very exceptional athlete. All right, now these two are more of a stretch, but I for sure could see them happening if things break a certain way. First off, let's start with Jalen Milroe over at Alabama. Obviously a superstar player. His draft stock has taken a bit of a hit in these last few weeks. If that continues to happen and he wants to come out to USC for his redshirt senior season, I obviously don't guarantee Heisman's, but this would be pretty damn close. This is as elite an athlete you're going to see at the quarterback position. 6'2", 225, all the experience in the world. An absolute rifle, throws a gorgeous deep ball. So what would the scenario be where this happened? Let's say Alabama loses 1 or 2 more games, his draft stock falls to the 3rd or 4th round, and he wants to go somewhere that's going to make him a shoo-in for the first round, maybe even being a top 10 pick. What better place is that in the country than playing for Lincoln Riley, a coach that has coached this exact skill set before in a guy like Jalen Hurts? This would be the home run of all home runs. Now it is just a 1-year rental. This isn't a guy like a DJ Lagway that you're going to get multiple years out of. But in terms of rentals, this is as elite as you could possibly hope to be. This would be a program changer and would almost immediately make USC a contender for the national championship in 2025, in my opinion. And then the last one for today, let's talk about Quinn Ewers. Now, Quinn is someone I'm a big fan of as well. People have been talking about him as a first-round pick the entire year. But now, who knows if he even finishes the year as a starter there in Texas. All the talk about Arch Manning is starting to heat up a little bit over there in Austin. And if that happens, this is a guy I could see wanting to come play for Lincoln Riley for his last year in college. 6'2", 210 pounds from the state of Texas. Throws one of the prettiest balls in the entire country. A ton of experience in massive, massive games. Sees the entire field, can go 1, 2, 3, 4 in his progressions. Navigates the pocket like a pro. Not going to give you a ton in the running game, but he can pull it and get you first down here and there. This is another guy that doesn't really fit what I think Lincoln wants to do in the Big Ten. But yeah, it goes without saying, this would obviously be a massive pickup heading into 2025. Quinn is absolutely someone you can win a national title with, and if his draft stock takes him out of the first and second rounds, maybe there's a chance he would want to go to a place where he'd be developed by the best quarterback coach in the country. But yeah, that is all the names I have for now. If you guys were a fan of that segment, please do let me know, and I'll make sure to put out another one next week. But yeah, I want to talk about the scheme that I think Lincoln Riley really wants to run in the Big Ten. Who are the last two quarterbacks Lincoln has tried really hard to go after? DJ Lagway and Will Howard. Now, those guys are the complete opposite of a guy like Miller Moss. Those guys are very big, they're very physical, they like to run the ball, they like to get downhill. I don't have any idea why Ohio State is trying to turn Will Howard into some precision passer. Don't really get that. But what that tells me is that Lincoln Riley wants to run a 2019 Jalen Hurts style offense here at USC. A power run base, with the quarterback being a massive, massive part of that run game. Now, I'm sure some of you are thinking, well, then why not put in Jade Mayava? The running portion of this isn't the only part of the offense. You have to be able to make the defense pay when they come and crash down. If you can't make good decisions, if you can't put the ball in the money, then it doesn't matter if you can run well. That's why a guy like Jalen Hurts works. That's why a guy like Will Howard works. That's what I think Lincoln wants to do. And in the Big Ten, that makes a ton of sense. This team is currently constructed to where I think that would be our best option going forward. Our offensive line excels in the run game, particularly the power run game. If we need to pick up a yard, typically we can do it. We're also exceptional at blocking down in the red zone, down along that goal line. So heading into 2025, that is what I would expect to see. That's why I think a guy like DJ Lagway is likely to come here. If you can lull a defense asleep running Q counter, Q power, and then obviously your normal GT counter stuff that Lincoln loves, but then you can pull it and hit him over the top, then you can implement the RPO game and just torment those linebackers. That seems like a very good recipe for this USC team. And of course, very excited to see what we do this year in the transfer portal to help benefit that if that is what Lincoln decides to do. So yeah, guys, just a little conversation video. I am fascinated to hear where you guys stand. Who do you think will be USC starting quarterback in 2025? And who do you want to be USC starting quarterback in 2025? Please do let me know down below in the comments. If you guys did happen to enjoy this video, please do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you guys so much for all the support. You're all awesome. And as always, take care and fight on.